Hello and welcome to this edition of the Potomac Local Podcast. I'm your host, President and Publisher of Potomac Local News, Uriah Kaiser. Joining us on the podcast today is Dave Britt. He's with the ReopenVA movement. And Dave, thanks for coming on the podcast today. We really appreciate it. We understand you're going to be talking about the effort to get the state reopened and the economy going again in the wake of the coronavirus spread.
That's correct. About a week or so ago, after the Michigan protest, the Lansing protest, I just posted on a bunch of the groups that I'm a part of that I proposed that we do basically the same thing on April 22nd, because that's when the legislature is in session for that one, the veto day, and did that across the boards on a bunch of my groups. And a guy touched base with me and said, hey, I think we're going to, that sounds like a great idea. We're talking about doing something that's the same. Here's going to be a conference call. So last Thursday, got on a conference call, and we started pulling this thing together.
So you're going to go to Richmond on Wednesday. The General Assembly is back in session. They're going to hold a special outdoor session. And you're going to pack the streets of Richmond around the state capitol.
We are indeed. The idea is we're going to make a little bit of noise and circle the Capitol building. If we have enough folks, then we'll also be detailing some to head down and be a presence around the Museum of Science, which is where the Senate is meeting. So
this is reminiscent, it sounds to me, like the protests we saw back in January and the 2A movement, where people literally packed Capitol Square. Well, there was really very little standing room. And as you look at those pictures today, it seems like a world ago, because now we're being told to social distance. So how will this protest be different from what we saw in January?
This protest will be in cars. We are organizing a driving protest. We're not so much calling it a gridlock. We've used that word, but we're hoping that we can actually keep the cycle going, that we can actually keep moving around the Capitol Square and around the Senate if we have enough people, around the Museum of Science, and in that way that we'll maintain social distancing.
What's the message, the takeaway here? You obviously want these locally elected officials to hear you, and obviously Governor Northam has ordered a statewide stay-at-home order until June 10th. He's ordered that non-essential businesses can get back to business on May 8th. A lot of people have questioned the, I guess, the need for such a prolonged closure. The people who support it say, look, we need to keep social distancing. We don't know what the effect will be when we get back, sort of back to business. And there are many fears that, look at Florida, for example. On Friday, the beaches were reopened. And there are fears that once more people pack these crowded areas, we're going to see the number of cases of coronavirus increase.
I would suggest that most everyone now has a pretty good understanding of what social distancing is all about, how to wash their hands, and that kind of thing. And that we can take those same principles and apply them to the work world. We're at a point now where the cure has definitely become more damaging than the disease. The projections matrix that Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci use has projected that Virginia will suffer a total, and it's tragic, but we will suffer a total of 763 deaths due to coronavirus. The last death they project will occur in the first week of June, which speaks to Governor Northam's June 10th date. But as of mid-March, 783 Virginians had been killed by the flu. So, these are hard numbers. Well, the projection's not a hard number, but by taking, by maintaining the social distancing and observing that kind of thing, we could safely open Virginia and get the economy going. Because
the hard numbers that we do have today is we have a total of 300 deaths. This is today from the Virginia Department of Health. 1,500 people are in the hospital suffering from coronavirus, and reported about 9,000 cases that we've reported to date, right? The number of cases, and I've been monitoring them every day, continue to go up in Virginia. And so where in New York, Governor Cuomo says that they've passed their peak and they're seeing cases go down. Virginia is quite the opposite. We're still seeing cases go up. So is your argument one of a phased reopening? Are you looking for, what data are you looking at to make the case that it is time to reopen?
I do see a phased reopening, much like the president's guidelines. And obviously, we can't fall into the group to open on May 1st right now because we don't have 14 days to show no increase in cases. However, tomorrow, or actually no, today is the projected peak for Virginia. This is supposed to be our peak, and we're supposed, according to the projections, we're supposed to start seeing it go down from here.
How can people get involved in your protest? How can they do it safely? What do they need to know about the event on Wednesday?
Sure. The event will be taking place from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're planning on getting together in a couple of spots in Richmond to drive in, one of them being the parking lots at the Diamond, where folks can meet up between 10:30, set up their cars and vehicles as they wish, and then drive on down Capitol Square. That's also where we'll be giving out any last-minute instructions or changes of plans. They can find out more details by going to the event page that we've created on Facebook. Just search in events for Reopen Virginia Rally, and it'll be there. And there's all kinds of information, our flyer, some factoids, talking points, if you will, that can be downloaded and printed for folks in case someone with the media decides to say hello to them in their car.
And it's fair to say that your Facebook group, since it started about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, has already
a week ago.
A week ago, is already 30,000 members strong.
The Restore Virginia group is last count last night was 28,500 people. It was created on Easter Sunday. Okay. So it's definitely, there's definitely interest in this. The event page, it's hard to tell because folks, don't necessarily say I'm going. Last one I counted last night, last I checked, it was I believe it was about 2,000 that are either interested or going. And I know that we've got coming up on 200 people that have confirmed that they're bringing a vehicle, either a private vehicle or a work vehicle. And we encourage anyone that wants to join us with their work vehicle, because you're what this is all about, bring your work vehicle. Tow your trailer with your heavy equipment on it. Whatever you want to do, come on down and join us. We're here to try and get businesses reopened because we want to have an economy to come back to when this whole stay-at-home order ends.
So for the sake of transparency, I'll point out a few things. I've known Dave for many years. When we started Potomac Local, Dave was actually a columnist for us and wrote several different columns. Dave's also taken on some reporting for us back. It's been about 2 or 3 years ago, but we always enjoyed having Dave's voice on the website, and it's good to see that you're still out there and still dressing well in these days. And we go back even further than that. Dave was once a Prince William County High School teacher, where I was a Prince William County High School student, and he was a teacher of mine, and he taught me everything I ever wanted to know about the art of television, and so we appreciate that. So there is, for the sake of transparency, there is some relationship here, but again, We've treated this interview very factually and very fairly, and so we wanted to just put that out there. Dave, please be safe, right? Please do what you need to do to stay socially distanced. Please, and thank you for coming on the Potomac Local Podcast.
Thank you so much. Yes, the whole point of this is that we keep people safe, yet still express what we need to express.